Hello friends, my name is Archaeology and this is me right here. I wish I would get all the ladies. Anyway, as you can see, this is a different kind of video. I'm sure that spending a few minutes just listening to me in any subject tends to be a little bit boring. So I had this idea of using this wonderful game to explain Norse afterlife and the concept of spirit. This doesn't mean that in the future I will continue to do videos like this. It highly depends on your feedback. But the thing is, some of my friends told me that I would like this game because it's based on Norse mythology. This is Skyrim from Bethesda, the 5th game of the Elder Scrolls series. I absolutely loved playing this game. I expected to see things related to Norse mythology and Scandinavian history. To my surprise, not only was based in mythological and historical accounts, but there is also a great amount of Norse spirituality in this game. So I wanted to talk about the concept of afterlife in ancient Scandinavia and use Skyrim to illustrate this subject. Hope you don't mind. With no more delay, let's get started. I'll try to be brief in this subject and summarize it a lot. So let's make an introduction first to the essence of religion and the concept of spirit. This is the first video of this series and now I'm not going to focus just yet on the Norse afterlife. That will be on the next video. Now what I want you to understand first before delving into the main subject is how religions view reality and spirit. To better understand the essence of Norse paganism, we have to take in mind that we can divide religions into two groups: the world accepting religions and the world rejecting religions. The religions that reject reality are, for instance, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism and Hinduism. In Christianity, you live your entire life trying to save your soul, trying to save a spot in heaven. The idea is living this life only to prepare your soul for the next life. The afterlife is the life that matters. With Islam is the exact same thing, but also there is a great emphasis on the correct observance of rites and prayers. In Buddhism, you try to reach your higher self. No preoccupations whatsoever, and just like the previous religions, you are working for yourself, so it turns into a religion for the individual rather than for the community. And of course, in Hinduism, reality is Maya, an illusion. These religions have in common the fact of promising to their practitioners something that is beyond reality, beyond our mortal world, so our world becomes a mere transition towards something better and eternal, so there is the absolute negation of this world. On the other hand, most pagan religions had a very different point of view about our world. They were religions associated with everyday life and were much more connected and concerned with the tasks of everyday life and the insertion of the human being into the natural order of things, as an agent and an auxiliary of natural events. The goal of religions that accept reality or accept the world is generally to protect the life of the family, to cause well-being and fertility, things associated with life itself and material things. Most pagan religions are religions concerned with the community and to try to live this life in the best of ways, without being so eager to die and go into the afterlife. The Norse and Germanic spiritualities are the types of religions that are world-accepting. Of course, at some point, warriors were eager to die in battle and go to Valhalla, but that was a minority in Scandinavian societies belonging to a different cult, which I will talk about on another video. Summing this up, the religions that deny reality tend to focus on individuals. What is important is the individual salvation, the reward in the afterlife. It takes away the collective consciousness. No one can save third parties, no one can take other people into the other side. You are working for yourself and your own well-being, whilst pagan religions are much more community-focused, since they are religions that accept reality. There is the need for collective work to cause well-being in general. The human being here is not seen as independent of nature and of the human community as a whole, but as a part of a greater plan. The group, the tribe, is an entity itself. Christianity, for instance, like many religions, is based on the notion of worship through faith. Faith is what brings the individual to their god or gods. Most pagan religions in general didn't have the concept of an individual having a special connection with a certain deity. although we have some cases, of course, of people worshipping a single deity, or an oracle, sorcerer, shaman, and so on, having contact with the gods and the gods speaking through that person. But in general, the connection people had with the gods was always concerned with the community and giving gifts to the gods and spirits to keep the bonds of friendship strong and to have a continuation in the blessings the gods sent to the community. Pagan religions are based on the preservation of certain community acts towards the gods. These gifts to the gods generally fulfill the role of the faith. An animal was killed and shared with a certain deity or deities. Part of the crop burned to be sent to the gods and or spirits of the land. Valuable objects were broken to release the force in it, to be given to the being to whom it was being offered. There is an exchange of migin, that is, of power, of energy, which through the sacrifice, death, burning, sends this migin to the beings we want, and they, accepting those gifts, find themselves obliged to give to us something in return. Not only we mortals continue these activities to keep the bonds of friendship between gods and mortals alive, but the gods themselves keep alive this circle of brotherhood, friendship, the fridre, which is peace, love, and a sort of harmony. While other religions worship through faith and prayers, most pagan religions worship through gifts. Speaking about breaking valuable objects to gift them to the gods, we see this in archaeology during the Bronze Ages and the Iron Age. Thousands of weapons, broken and distorted so no one would steal them, but also broken to release their power, the very human essence that belongs to the object because we created them, and giving that essence to the gods. And in return the gods gift us with spiritual force, essence, power. Unlike religions that pray to a certain deity so the deity intervenes and the deity does the things for people, in most pagan religions the deities do the things with people. People weren't expecting the gods to do something for them. That's why there were these gifts to the gods, to give them power, force, essence, so the gods in turn would give us the same thing, the motivation, strength, power, so we can do the things for ourselves and to help the community. I've already spoken about objects on purpose because the concept of spirit in different religions can also be divided into two aspects. There is a relation between matter and spirit. To our Western society, greatly influenced by Christianity, the matter and the spirit are two different things. The spirit is immortal and will animate the matter, which is mortal. The matter can die while the spirit lives on, which reinforces the idea that this life is a mere passage to evolve and come to an individual perfection so we can go into the other side uncorrupted. The matter ends while the spirit flees into someplace else. Pagan religions often don't have this same idea. For most pagan religions, there is no division between matter and spirit, mortal versus immortal. What exists is one inseparable thing. If you have matter, you have a spirit. The spirit is not seen exactly as an individual consciousness. In fact, it is more of a force, as in the Old Nordic migin, as I have mentioned before. Having a personality is different from having an individuality. Personalities are relational things, defined not by the subject itself but by its interaction with others. But individuality is what you define, which later will influence your personality. This is one of the reasons our ancestors had ritual hunting, eating the meat of certain animals to obtain their essence, because the matter lived alongside the spirit. By feeding on one, you also incorporate the other, so there aren't two separate things. The body is equal to the spirit and the spirit is equal to the body. Once again, using Christianity as an example, in the point of view of such religions, the spirit is individual and inhabits the body, and can relate to the divine only through faith or good deeds. In certain pagan religions, such as the Norse one, the spirit has its roots in matter, but tends to spread to other higher dimensions. The concept of the spirit in certain pagan religions is the same concept of the structure of a community. The community is a body, but can be divided into tribes, and a tribe having different families, and within each family a member of individuals different from one another. It's like a great web, a collective consciousness constructed by other branches of consciousness. Like a great tree, I'm sure you can already see the spiritual similarities with Yggdrasil and what it represents. There is the self, and the self is divided. There is the Hamra, and within it, it is divided by Hugra, Munra, Fylgja, Heimingja, Fylgja, which I will explain on another video, but this only to tell you that the self is divided into different parts belonging to the same thing. Forces that influence us because they are part of us. The material body, Likra, is part of this Hamra, which possesses all these different realities. The different parts of the spirit construct the Hamra, construct the form itself in which people see us physically. Alright friends, let's end this video here and continue on the next one. Now that you know the concept of spirit in pagan religions, especially in the Norse pagan traditions, I think it will be easier for you to understand the concept of afterlife in the perspective of the ancient Norse, which I will try to explain on the next video. Thank you so much for watching and see you on the next video. Tack för idag!